Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 30th of September, 2021. Coming up in this episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 150. So, when will you guys get back to work? Odds and ends in regards to who's getting back to Parliament soon enough, and a special tribute to our First Nations people. All that more coming up the podcast. Please stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 150. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, and a listener and viewer discretion is advised. I tend to do some nasty gestures with my hands, and I like to say bad words. Anyhow, needless to say, episode 150. So I guess it's been a week since my last podcast. Been busy trying to find meaningful work. However, I'm still trucking along here with the podcast, trying to get things done in a timely fashion. And today is a very, very special day, ladies and gentlemen. Truth and Reconciliation Day, first of its kind in the history of this country. And I think it is overdue. I think it's been overdue for a very, very long time. You've heard my rants and rages in regards to how we've treated the First Nation peoples in this country. And it's been unfair. And I'm going to say it. It has been unfair. I'm a firm believer in abolishing the Indian Act. It's very condescending. It's based on 1870s values rather than 21st century values. And I've had some great conversations with some leaders in communities. A couple of my friends in my life are First Nations. I had a great conversation with a Mr. Stephen Buffalo there a few months back in regards to the IRC. So I can understand the hurt and the pain that has gone into a lot of the First Nations culture. And I'm not going to be guilting myself because I'm a white person. I guess in some cases I've had some situations of privilege in my life, but nonetheless, I've had to work hard for everything that I have, ladies and gentlemen. But that doesn't mean that I can't acknowledge our history and respect it and learn from it as every other Canadian should. And as far as I'm concerned, the way I was raised in my household, you treat everybody with respect, dignity, and courtesy. You don't take things for granted. Now, based on what I've seen in the past news reports in the past couple of days, and the ceremonies that a lot of different cultures have had in honoring this day, we have a very, very diverse history in our own backyard, ladies and gentlemen. And then that proves it, regardless if you're Métis, Cree, Blackfoot, Ojibwe, Iroquois, Mohawk, Micmac, it doesn't matter. Inuit, Dene, it doesn't matter. We have a great history in this country, and all the more reasons for us to celebrate it and to appreciate it for what it is. I wasn't around during the 1960s when they had the 60s scoop, nor was I around from the inception of the residential schools to when they finally closed down in 1996. Or was it 98? I should get my figures straight. Needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, it is a part of our history we should understand and learn from, regardless of where you sit on the religious fence or the political fence or any fence at all, for that matter. It is a very, very dark chapter in our history that we should understand and make sure that it never bloody happens again. Honestly, like I said, I'm not a religious person. I'm not in tune with the clergy, nor am I in tune with any organized faith of that matter. I've made the decision in my young life not to be a believer because I believe in other things than somebody up in heaven with a beard looking down on me. If that's the case, then it might be Zeus. I don't know. But you tell me. Anyway, if you like and hear what you see, ladies and gentlemen, please click like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share this around and help out with the new algorithm that's trying to resurface. There's rumblings and speculations of people getting together and trying to get things on the go to keep free speech alive and keep our expressions paramount as they should be. But nonetheless, do what you can. Share this around to all your social media platforms. And do not forget to comment and ring the little bell on YouTube there for notifications for new content of the Crusty Canuck podcast that's coming your way. Anyway, carrying on again with the celebration. Well, not a celebration, just a remembrance and an appreciation and a show of respect for our First Nations, ladies and gentlemen. History, like I said, has not been kind, but we're in a situation now where we can all work together to find light at the end of this manufactured darkness. So at some point in this show, I will put up a nice little tribute to our First Nations, to ancestors, to the elders, to the historians, the storytellers, the dancers, the artists, to the old warriors, and to the old creators that we should start holding dear today. Like the title said, though, when are they going to get back to work? So the election has been done. Okay, it's been done now for a week or so, a week and a half. And Trudeau's going to keep Mr. Well, you never know, Miss Freeland on as the finance minister / deputy prime minister. And we're also going to probably get another cabinet shuffle, of course, because some key people stepped down, quote unquote, and some liberals were not elected again, like Ms. Monsef, like I mentioned in the last episode, referring to the Taliban as her brothers. So that's self-explanatory right there, ladies and gentlemen. And without buttering up a poop sandwich, again, we're back to the old dog fucking parameter, right? We are back to the old issue again, where the government's going to dictate how we live, how we walk, how we talk, and what we're going to do with ourselves, right? They're back to the same old tactics, and yet, who do you blame for that? Okay. Now, I know a lot of people didn't want another election, and I know a lot of people didn't really enjoy going out to vote again. Especially some electoral districts had their doors closed and votes weren't being counted properly, what have you. But there's still an abundance of Canadians that did not get out there and vote. And when people say, well, my vote doesn't count, are you sure? It could have counted this time. So I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or, that you must vote. Well, actually, I'm going to say you should vote. To borderline must. You should get out there and speak your mind while it's still legal, while we still have the right to do so. Because now with more of the pandemic issue looming, especially in Saskatchewan, here in Alberta, there's more speculation of another lockdown again on keeping people indoors, keeping people away from their jobs and from the small businesses. And of course, with that, like the last time, there's going to be more fines and more tickets and probably a few more authority figures roughing people up for skating or for walking outside. So it's like a big repeat of last year, ladies and gentlemen. Another shit show is looming. And what are we going to do about it this time? Funny, eh? I don't think it's going to be as pleasant as it was the last time.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Anyway, carrying on again with when will they get back to work? Yes, of course. Put a little card together. So when will you get back to work? When exactly you get back to work? So they speculate end of fall, which is roughly just before Christmas time. And we all know how parliamentarians like to take their holidays, 3 weeks here, 3 weeks there, a couple of weeks there, because Justin has to get more surfing in and more trips to the fucking Dominican Republic or Costa Rica, wherever he was last year, being seen apparently. So, that's the priority of our leadership right now. And our provinces are going full blown, retard when it comes to more lockdowns and more of the vaccine issues. Now, I've talked to people that went and got themselves the vaccines. They're happy, they're content, and so be it. So be it. And I'll remind you, ladies and gentlemen, too, if you want the vaccine, get the vaccine. If you don't want it, you don't have to take it. That's up to you. That should be your fundamental choice. But there's still an overwhelming amount of this division going on. People pointing, oh my God, how dare you? Oh, you don't have this. What does it matter? Honestly, is your lifestyle going to change because your neighbor doesn't have an inoculation? Now, we're not dealing with polio here. We're not dealing with the airborne strain of Ebola or, heaven forbid, a new airborne strain of the HIV variant or parts thereof. But needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, it has nothing to do with your livelihood. And yet the powers that be want to keep pushing it. They want to keep pushing these mandates They keep telling you what you have to do and how you have to do it, and to constantly make everything all hunky-dory because they're promising utopia and cheeseburgers and money and more money and $1 million prize in this province and $100 per jab here, and everything will just be hunky-dory. Oh, it sounds like a fun time, eh? No, it's not. Okay. Now, I've talked with a few of my vets buddies over the past week in regards to what's been going on, and a lot of them don't know what to say other than that it's going to turn into another pile of crap. It's going to turn into another garbage skull, another shit show. And there are a lot of individuals out there that are getting sick and tired of being backed into corners, ladies and gentlemen. And there's more and more every day. And I'm part of an online community that's trying to help me find a job right now, too. So that's the thing. There's a lot of businesses that are willing to enforce these mandates. They're willing to enforce the passports. They're willing to enforce all these great things. And for what? In the name of safety, right? Got to make sure that you have your inoculations before you can sit down and eat, right? Got to make sure you have your inoculations before we let you shop in this store. Even though some of these stores have been stung and put through the ringer the past year and a half because the 2-week curve ended up being 500 plus days. Interesting. Anyway, tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. You can contact me via my subscriptions there on Rumble, Brighton, and Wimkin. You can also contact me via Crusty B Canuck 67@gmail.com. Let me know what you think. And this week, no one has sent me any emails in regards to being let go from their positions because of their choice of inoculation or not, thankfully. But still, if anyone wants to talk and give me an insight on their story and their experience, please contact me via the email at the bottom there. And please subscribe, like, and comment, all that good stuff. Anyway, carrying on, ladies and gentlemen, too. With more of Ottawa and the elected officials getting their butts back to work, too. Come across a story from True North Media there, too. The media group wants journalists to be legally protected from online comments. Now, listen to this carefully. Now, this comes from Kazman Dezerdza, I believe. There'll be a link in the description. You get the whole story there. But this is from True North News there from 2 days ago, September 28th. Media group wants journalists legally protected from online comments. Oh, one of the organizations in charge of distributing millions in liberal media bailout funds has come out in support of pro-censorship bill C-36 and has called for the law to provide legal protections for journalists who face harassment online. According to Blacklock's reporter, now Blacklock's are a bunch of good people out of Ottawa. You got to pay a pretty price to get on their subscription, but it's worth it. I'll leave a link to their work too. According to Blacklock's reporter, News Media Canada offered its support for the bill in a submission to the Department of Canadian Heritage. Now, we all know Canadian Heritage is Mr. Stephen Gobert, Mr. I'm going to fight for Geeth by climbing the CN Tower. Yeah, the criminal, right? Anyhow, this is not about limiting democratic expression. It's about protecting it and its most precious guardians, the journalists. And it's about ensuring all publishers, including internet intermediaries, are held accountable for harmful content, wrote the News Media Canada CEO, Paul Deegan. Okay, Paul, carry on. Bill C-36 would reintroduce the controversial Section 13 of the Canadian Human Rights Act and make Canadians liable to arrest or a fine of $70,000 if they are found to post content that was likely to foment detestation or vilification of any individual or group. Now, I can understand if an individual, let's say such as myself, went on a tangent and started criticizing people of this origin or people of that origin or this gender or that spectrum and saying hateful, stupid things. We've all heard people like that, ladies and gentlemen. We've all seen people like that one way or another in our lives. We've seen movies of the week about poop heads who do that. We've seen TV shows, motion pictures, you name it. Okay. But honestly, who in their right mind that personally is going to go out of his or her way or their way or whatever identification to do something like that. Okay. Anyway, I digress. Carrying on. Although the bill was struck down at the end of the last parliamentary session, the Liberals have promised to reintroduce it this year. Of course they will. Recently, the Vancouver-based internet freedom advocacy group Open Media called Bill C-36 and Bill C-10 dangerous. Of course, it's censorship. Anything you want to censor, as far as I'm concerned, is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. According to the group, the two laws would make Canada's internet one of the most censored and surveilled in the democratic world, next to China, right? According to the group, or correction, in his submission, Deegan claimed that the journalists face harassment and defamation and unnamed threats before asking the government to alter the bill to offer the media more protections. Okay, well, here's something you say to these journalists too. Okay, you take it upon yourself to write the story, to submit for the public's approval, kind of like what Rod Serling was doing with the Twilight Zone, right? Submitted for your approval. That's the thing. To anyone who buys a newspaper or reads a newspaper online or downloads a news story or watches a news story, you're submitting it for the approval of your boss, your editor, producer, etc. And then the public hears it. And if the public does not hear it, then the public is getting the opportunity to write a letter back or to send a comment back saying, you're wrong about this. You're wrong about that. You made a mistake here when it came to this situation and that situation. I was there. Blah, 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 blah. We've all seen commentary like that. So why all of a sudden are these big media moguls so afraid of someone like you or me having an opinion? Interesting. Hey, go figure. Anyway, we'll carry on. As a business, the news publishing industry remains under threat from the unregulated and unchecked social media and other online communication service providers, wrote Mr. Deegan. Fuck you, Mr. Deegan. We recommend the government of Canada explicitly recognize online threats to journalists directly into the act. Journalists should be afforded exceptional recourse to online threats. News Media Canada submits online platforms should act upon reports of harassment from news publishers and journalists within 24 hours. Okay, so if I wrote a story about feelings and understanding, the persuasions and understanding what goes into feelings, and someone said, "You get yourself a pair of balls there, you," would that constitute hateful online harassment? No, it's sarcasm. It's humor. You're allowed to do that. Last time I checked. Anyhow, as exclusively reported by True North, despite being entrusted with overseeing the Liberal government's $50 million subsidy to local reporters, and yes, the Liberal government handed out a good chunk of change to the media prior to the election, roughly about $61 million, I believe, right? News Media Canada wasn't able to provide the names or the exact amount of dozens of legacy media outlets that receive funding under the program. So here's a guy, Mr. Paul Deegan, who wants protection for the journalists, protection because, oh my God, they're so threatened, and yet they can't disclose information to the general public. So what exactly are you protecting, Mr. Deegan? What are you protecting? Hey, you're not protecting journalistic integrity. You're just protecting feelings like a little high school bitch.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
The Sun also wrote a story too. Mr. Gunter wrote a story. I couldn't get it printed off properly, but I'll leave a link in the description as well. Ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, carrying on again with Canadian Parliament. So when will you guys get back to work? That's the thing. So they speculate that they're going to keep Freeland on and a few other cabinet ministers on. And of course, going to have another cabinet shuffle. So I wonder if Seamus O'Regan's going to keep his job. And I wonder, well, Miss McKenna, she's gone because she retired. Because there's the lady that was harassed all the time. Someone said, see you next Tuesday on her office last election in 2019. And she didn't like that too much. Oh, poor girl. Who cares? Okay. Enough is enough. And because of my time, and it was only just barely a month when I was out getting signatures and talking to people and promoting the campaign of the Veterans Coalition Party. There are a lot of people that are really resilient still. A lot of people that still have the cojones, the gusto, the moxie to get up and go to work, do what they can, and overcome any kind of odd. Okay, that's the spirit that I've seen with a lot of people in this area. And I guess it's safe to assume that I've seen a lot of those people around Ontario, Quebec, the Democratic friendly persons, not these SJWs and these journalists that think they're entitled to magical things just because they have feelings and words. I have feelings and words too. I'm using them right now because it's called freedom of expression. Just try it on sometime. It might work, eh? Freedom of expression, eh? Is that really scary? Freedom of speech, is that scary too? Oh my goodness, can't have that now, can we? So if you're going to be a journalist and you're going to spend all that time and effort going to school to learn how to be a great journalist, then you better pull up your pants and learn how to embrace life for what it is, not what you want it to be. Okay? You got to make it something. And if you write a story and you make a mistake about a situation or a person, then the responsible adult thing to do would have to be owning it. Oh, wow. So if you made a mistake in a story and someone comments towards you on that, you should be able to fucking handle it. Common sense. And if you can't bloody handle it, then maybe you should get a job selling ice cream or doing the Al Bundy thing and selling shoes. Something to think about, journalists who want to defend your rights. It's amazing how you want to defend your rights, yet you don't want to defend the rights of people that are getting sick and tired of being told how to live their lives, where to walk, where to talk, where to fight, where to fuck, etc., etc. Right? Shit simple, ladies and gentlemen. But, I guess it's just the sign of the times. So we're going to have to change it around again and stand up for what's right one more time. And I don't mind doing it. What say you? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, too, please consider joining me also on supercast.tech, censorship free. I load my podcast there as well, too. And there's a donation wicket there, too. You can donate as well. And like I say, you can also find me on Rumble, Brighton, and Wimkin, too, once I load the audio and the video of my podcast. I load to all those three places there, too. So, and as well, please consider doing what I asked last week in regards to the t-shirt and the mug issue. So if you donate $5 a month, you're automatically entered to win the Crusty Canuck t-shirt, basic black with the saying on the back, humanity merit wins the day. Donate at patreon.podbean.com/Crusty Canuck. $5 a month gets you an automatic entry to win yourself a t-shirt. Don't forget to enclose your email and initials too. And come October 30th, there will be a draw. And the same thing goes for the Crusty Canuck mug too. Donate $10 a month or more. You can donate as many times as you want per month. There will be a draw. Same thing. Donate at patreon.podbean.com/Crusty Canuck. And try to win yourself a coffee mug. The first draw will be on the 30th of October. So please take advantage of the situation now, ladies and gentlemen, if you can. Like I said, I've lost work. I spent a good chunk of my change doing my campaign. I don't regret it. It was a good investment. Went out and reached some hearts and minds and had some good conversations with regular people like you and me, and with some politicians too, in regards to policies and lack of responsibility and lack of respect for the people in said ridings. So consider that I've had one hell of an adventure, ladies and gentlemen. Like I say, please consider donating $5 to $10. Help me out here too. I like to make this a full-time commitment, so I need you, my listeners, my audience out there, to make it happen. And I'm very, very grateful to the warm responses I've had the last couple of videos too, and the points of encouragement that I've received from all of you. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, for the kindness and consideration. Anyway, carrying on again too. On this week's episode, or this episode's of the famous, let me cue it up here,
The Canadian polar vortex of bullshit.
and with due consideration, the Canadian polar vortex of bullshit. Of course, we'll go to none other than, of course, the Canadian Parliament. Why? Because, again, they're taking their sweet effing time trying to get things done. They did the same thing back in 2019. Now they're doing it again in 2021, and they're not worrying about anything. So welcome, Canadian Parliament, to the Canadian polar vortex of bullshit. I think this is number 2 they've been received. I think this is the second time they've received the Canadian polar vortex of bullshit. So congratulations, Canadian Parliament. Congratulations for your lackluster performance the past couple of weeks. $60 million or $610 million given away for the sake of these elections. And we're back at square one, just like we were back in 2019. So blow it out your ass, Ottawa. Yeah, anyway, carrying on again, too. So, as I'm saying, people are hurting all over. We know this, okay? And I'm digressing a bit here, but I'm also trying to make sense of all this as well without losing my mind. We've all seen the opioid crisis. We've all seen people that have attempted suicide. We all understand that the mental impact of these decisions have affected numerous Canadians, not just a certain group or a few groups here, a few groups there. It's affected all Canadians. Okay? Now, this day, as I mentioned earlier in the show too, is a special day that we have to reconcile. I am a firm believer in truth and reconciliation, ladies and gentlemen. I always have been. All right. And I need to sit down and actually talk to an elder that has experienced the residential school system. And I'm willing to do that. And I'm laying it out there to my listeners and fans out there too. If you know somebody who would like to have a conversation with me about that, please send them my email too. You got all my contact information in the description. Please reach out to me. I want to know. I want you to share your stories with me. And if you'd like to go on live with me, please let me know that too. I am opening the doors to opening up for the truth and reconciliation here, ladies and gentlemen. But that's the thing too. In order to find us the truth and reconciliation, we must find the absolute truth. Let's find the truth. What happened? Let's find the truth. How many of those bodies are of those little kids? How many of those bodies are of adults that lived at that time? Was it typhoid? Was it tuberculosis? Was it something else? Or was it an execution? We need to know. So we have to find the truth. And those individuals that stood by and did nothing while this was going on, and if they're still alive today, all the more reasons to find the truth. What happened? Who authorized this? Who signed this? Who said, yes, take them? Yes, move them. Yes, do this. Who's alive today? It says it. Now, I know the Catholic Church promised $30 million. Well, that's nothing. I think the Catholic Church should do more. I think United Churches and the Anglican churches and all churches involved thereof in this whole ridiculous, disgusting situation should step up and take more responsibility. And especially those individuals that are still alive today. Right? Especially those individuals that are still alive today, ladies and gentlemen. Because if we're going to have truth and reconciliation, like I say, let's find the truth.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Again, carrying on with when you guys get back to work. That's the thing. There's a lot of people in my life now, too, they're losing their jobs and they've lost a good chunk of their savings. And yet these leaders seem to be getting paid too. Miss Dina Henshaw apparently was supposed to report to court, but she was too busy on holiday. So I'll leave a link to that story as well. And I'm not impressed, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't care what anyone's medical background is. You're hearing doctors saying yes to this. You're hearing doctors saying no to that. You're seeing nurses getting laid off, getting fired, being threatened with suspension and other disciplinary actions if they don't get the vaccine. Now, I'm not pro-vaccine. I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm pro-common sense, ladies and gentlemen. What say you? I'm also pro-democracy, pro-freedom of expression, freedom to be, freedom to love who you want, freedom to do anything you desire as long as you're not hitting people taking their stuff. And yet we're seeing an overwhelming abundance of these elected officials who represent this group or represent that group or represent this group, who wear the blue or wear the red or wear the orange or the pink or the purple or the peach fucking Melba. And now they're all sitting around doing the same thing. You will do this and you will do that and you better be this and you better get that. And if you don't do this, then you're a bad person. If you don't do that, we might give you this. If you get this, we'll give you $1 million. We'll give you $100 over and over again. And they said, what 4 months ago? Was it 4 months ago? They said, we're not going to enforce any kind of passport. We're not going to enforce any kind of papers. And what are they doing? What the fuck are they doing? Yeah, I know. Right up the butt. Bohica. Bend over. Here it comes again.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a special moment here too, just to reflect and show honor to our beautiful First Nations peoples, to the history, to what they do, to what they are, to everything they have given to this land, to helping the Coureur de Bois, to the first voyageurs, the first settlers, to the first everything that come to this wonderful land we call Canada. This is my tribute to them, ladies and gentlemen. And to any of my First Nations fans out there too, please tell me what you think. I'm not familiar with the language, but I heard this drum chant and it moved me. So please take a couple minutes just to reflect and to remember and to honor the first Canadians. And that was from the Northern Cree, ladies and gentlemen. I'll leave a link to that video too in the description, just as an honor and to celebrate our First Nations and to remember those of the fallen. We can do better when it comes to relations. That's why we elect politicians to do it, yet they haven't done a great job in the past little while. So to make sense of it all, we have to do a hell of a lot better, ladies and gentlemen. And it starts with you and me. So do what you can to help each other at the best of our ability. We're all in this community. We're all in this village called Canada. Let's work together. Reconciliation and truth starts with every one of us. But let's find the truth nonetheless. Anyway, carrying on again more with the... So when will you get back to work? That's the question. Still, I've asked that a few times this time. And I've heard nothing yet from these leaders, except that they still want to hold on to censorship. They still want to control and contain and tell us how to go about their lives. Now, regardless if you believe in the Great Reset BS that's been going on or not, it seems like they're being sized up for that. Okay? So, I don't know. You know, the only thing I can say is that we got to stand our ground, stand ready, and stand fast. Stand high. Okay? Stand tall, stand proud for who we are, for our family, our friends, for our loved ones, and everyone you see. Okay? Nothing wrong with loving your nation. Nothing wrong with loving your community. Nothing wrong with loving your province. Nothing wrong with loving your heritage. Nothing wrong with that at all. You can still live in harmony with people and still love your heritage regardless. Okay? And when it comes to the vaccines and anti-vaccines, so be it. Let people just be. That's what it comes down to. Your body, your choice. It's that simple. Okay, regardless of what this science says, or that science says, or this scientist says, or this guy's paid off here, gets a little tickle here and there. Oh, yeah, slap and tickle, please. I'll say whatever you want. Oh, joy. Do it for yourself. Okay, if you want the shot, get the shot. If not, don't worry about it. Okay, just do what you can to help each other out in these trying times. It's that simple. But fight for light nonetheless. Okay. So the next couple of weeks, I'm trying to get some live guests on here too. I'm trying to formulate a new live show. Like I said last week, ladies and gentlemen, the Sunday fastball is no more. Sunday is the day I have with my wife, whether we hang out and go to lunch or clean or do yard work, whatever. That's our day because she leads a busy life and I'm trying to lead a busy life again too. Yes, I know I'm unemployed, but I still try to keep busy throughout the day. I do daily chores. I do run errands, pay some bills because I still get, a fixed income. I'm on my pension, but I need a job nonetheless. And I like to make this a full-time commitment. So I'll say once again, ladies and gentlemen, please consider donating, taking advantage of the t-shirt and mug offer. So you give $5 a month, you're automatically entered to win a t-shirt. You give $10 a month, you're automatically entered to win a mug. And I will draw every month, last day of every month. It would be the 30th and 31st. I will draw the last day and I will ship that mug to you at no charge or ship that t-shirt to you at no charge. But you got to give $5 or $10 for the said items. And if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this all around and every other media platform that you can while we're still free to do it. And you won't be disappointed, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to say out there to some people who have tried to digitally market my work, okay, I'm grateful that you've given me the opportunity to do that, but you've also ripped me off too. So there's some individuals out there who have promised me wonderful things and you never did it. So no, I'm not interested in your digital marketing schemes, okay? So as much as I want to make some money with this podcast, I'm not going to settle for a half-assed service. I'm not going to pay you to drive me north and then you turn around and drive me south, if you get what I mean. Get it? All right. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, on this podcast of the 30th of September, a special day, a solemn day, a day of remembrance and respect, and a reminder of all the more reasons why we should get into our history and respect it for what it is. And I just read something interesting today, too. The elected officials down in Toronto that said Dundas was a slave trader. You guys were fucking wrong. He tried to abolish slavery. Something to think about, right? To the woke mantras and the cancel culture out there. Blow it out your asses. Nonetheless, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 30th September 2021. Do what you can to help each other out, ladies and gentlemen, and please take advantage of my $5 to $10 offer, too. And you can also find me on Rumble, Brighton, and Wimkin, right? And those people are catching the premiere. Thank you for coming out ahead of time because I'm not around. Check me out there and go to my site, crustycanuck.ca for donations and donate me via PayPal with the Buy Me Coffee application, too. I want to say thank you to everyone who's given me some kind words this past week. Like I said, I got no emails from anybody who has told me about their job experiences of being let go. But nonetheless, you can send me an email at crustybcanuck67@gmail.com. Just follow the bottom of the screen there. And give me your words of wisdom or give me your experiences. And my door is still open too. If there's any First Nations out there listening or watching this podcast as we speak, and you have some stories you'd like to share with me, please. My door is open. Let me know. I would love to sit and have a conversation with you, whether it be via Zoom or Skype or on StreamYard here, or via telephone, or just give me a phone call, whatever. I'm an open book. My doors are open. Please. I want to hear your experiences. I want to hear your stories. And I want to get it out there so people can understand and learn so the healing process can begin for everybody. All right. Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 30th of September, 2021. A month from now is Halloween. Ooh, so get out your sexy costumes and your sci-fi paraphernalia and have yourselves a great time if we're still allowed to. But like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, look after your friends and loved ones. Do what you can to help each other out in these trying times. And please take advantage of my $5 to $10 draws and offers there. And I will see you next time. Look after yourself. And remember, humanity wins the day. Take care. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
My ass and call me Judy.